Hello everybody, my name is Cam from the Combo Masters team, and today we will be unboxing our newest product that we are super excited to present to you guys, the Knight Crossover Deck. Without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, let's get this out of the shrink wrap so we can get a better look at the packaging. Alright, now that it's out of the shrink wrap, we can get a way better look at this. I really like how the colors came out with the background and the glow. It's a little darker than I imagined, but I think it looks pretty good. As you can see, we have Combo Masters trading card game, Knight's Crossover Deck, and then on the sides we just have a nice little crown decal that kind of wraps around. And let's just take a look at the back. So the back says, "From other worlds, the knights slash on to the Combo Masters scene." As you can see, there's a deck list right here. These are all the cards you're going to be getting, which we'll show in the video. Shows what it contains, which is the crossover deck and a rule card, which we'll get into later, as well as 8 new promo cards. And here are the remaining arts that we couldn't fit on the front. Made sure to get all of the artworks that we made for this deck onto the box in some way, so we could give a shout out to all the creators that let us use their characters for the deck. Before we begin, make sure you check out our other decks. They're all on the Game Crafter right now back there, as well as a pack of set 1 cards if you want to pick some of those up along with your Knight's Crossover Deck. Also, we'll be shouting out all the creators that are featured in this deck down below in the description, so if you want to check out any of their games, make sure to head down there. And with that, let's crack open this box. Sorry, I'm being really careful with it. It's been a while since I've unboxed one of these. Alright. That put in the back. Oh. So it's really convenient that I got this as the first card, because we've made some changes to the game that will continue through set 2, which is showcased on this card. Each card will now have a rarity symbol as well as their other distinguishing features, which will really help with visibility and telling what card is a rare, which is an uncommon, and which is a common, as well as archetype indicators, which we'll get into when I explain the Knight cards. Also on the back, we have a shout out to all the creators again. If you want to check out their YouTube channels, all of them are listed right there, as well as a QR code to the rules. So instead of featuring a rule book, it kind of took up space and wasn't the most thorough thing in the world. So instead we decided to put a QR code that you can scan, which will bring you to the rule video, which I think is a way better way to learn the game than just reading and looking at the rule book. So I'm glad this turned out really well. Alright, I'm gonna get the cards sorted real quick. Alright, now I have everything sorted so it's easier to demonstrate. We're just going to quickly run through all of the other cards that are not Knight cards just to see what else comes in the deck. As you can see, it's not the best example in this. I'm honestly going to play around with it more for set 2 because the rarity indicator is kind of hard to distinguish. So we'll have to definitely play around with that. That might just be on item cards, but in any case. Starting off with recycling bin, you get 2 recycling bins, knife toss, 2 knife tosses, 2 sad doggos, 3 spaghetti tornadoes, 2 knife storms, 2 razor rings, and 2 mint drops, as well as 2 honey bears. Alright, so that brings us to our first night card, which is Big Nose from Pillars TCG. And it's a common, as you can see in the bottom right here, in the middle. It has the word night, which is its archetype indicator. So a lot of these cards are going to say only affects night cards, or draw 1 night card from your deck. And that just includes any card with the word night at the bottom, indicated by the archetype symbol right here. Because as you can see, Big Nose, he doesn't have night in his name, but he is still part of the night archetype, and we wanted to make sure that you're able to distinguish that he is still a knight, and you can draw for him. So Maz drew this card. It does 3 damage, and this card may be discarded at any time to negate up to 4 damage dealt by your opponent. So he's a little bit of a meat shield. He's not necessarily the best card in the deck, but he definitely helps out the archetype a lot, and you get 3 of him. Alright, up next is Lifeblade Knight from Astronomica TCG. And this card is also drawn by Maz. And as you can see, all of these cards are weapon types, except for one, which I'll get into. So this archetype helps out the weapon type significantly from set 1. They were already pretty good with the knives, but this is just another usable option. So Lifeblade Knight is another common, also a night card, and it does 2 damage, but it has an enter ability that says deal damage for each unique knight in your chain, then heal for the same amount. So this card is extremely helpful. It doesn't do as much damage because it's a common, but with that enter ability, you can chip damage pretty easily. And you get 3 of that as well, since it's a common. Next is Sapling Knight from Oversoul TCG. It is also a night card. It does 2 damage. If you have less than 3 night cards in your chain, this card can be played as an additional card on your turn. A night card must already be in your chain to use this ability. So, this card is really helpful because usually in a game of Combo Masters, you can either draw 2 cards to play 2 cards, or draw 1 card to play 3 cards. But this card can be played in addition to those, so it negates that rule, which is really helpful for just getting a lot of cards in your chain to rack up that OTK damage. This is also a common, also a night card, and I drew this one. Alright, next we have Tree Knight from Monster Orb TCG. He's actually not a card in the game at the moment, but he is an idea from the creator of Monster Orb, and he fit the archetype really well, so I really like him, how he turned out. I drew this card. He's also a knight, and he does 3 damage. This card does plus 3 damage if another knight card is in your chain. So this is just another damage boosting card. He's an uncommon, so you get 2 of him. However, he is extremely helpful for just getting that chip damage. Comboing him with Sapling Knight is really helpful, I found. So he is a pretty heavy hitter for this knight archetype. Alright, for the action card of this deck is the Fabled Hero. He's another one that doesn't have knight in the name, but he's still part of the knight archetype. And he's pretty simple. He is a search card, so search your deck for a knight attack and add it to your hand. And this is extremely helpful because a lot of your knight cards are attacks. And the more you have in your hand, the easier it is going to be to get that perfect OTK hand. And he is from Quest for Dominion. Alright, another attack knight is Fallen Knight from Astrum Cross TCG. Also a knight card. He's pretty simple. 2 damage. This card only deals damage when discarded. So you can really combo this while removing stuff from your chain. So even if your opponent somehow discards your Fallen Knight for any reason, that's the only time he can do damage. So this card can be played pretty strategically, especially if he's used as a requirement for other weapon cards, such as Razor Ring. He also works really well with Razor Ring, because this is a card that also deals in the discard pile. So you could use him as a requirement for Razor Ring to get Razor Ring out on the field, and then this card does damage, and then you're able to do even more damage with Razor Ring, which is really cool. Alright, and for the item card of the deck, this is the Cocos from Kingdom Duelers. It is an item card. It deals +1 damage for each knight attack in your chain. Discard this card after 3 turns. So, while this item card is in play, each one of your knight cards upon tapping your chain is going to do +1 damage. So this is just a really nice damage booster, contributes to that OTK. And this one is drawn by Moz. Alright, and the final card and the rare of the deck is Possessed Pumpkin. I really like how his colors turned out. I think this card looks really nice. He is from Rune TCG, and as you can see, him and the Cocos are not part of the Knight archetype. They just directly contribute. So you can't draw for them with the Fabled Hero, but if you get these cards in your hand, they're going to be extremely helpful and critical to maximizing the strategy of this deck. So it does 8 damage, and when it enters, you must discard 2 knight cards from your chain to play this card. So you have to kind of shed away your chain. A little bit, but it's worth it to get that 8 damage in most cases, especially if you discard cards like Big Nose. Alright, and with that concludes our look at the Knight crossover deck. Thank you to all the creators that let us use our characters. I think their logo being on each card turned out really nice, and it was a good way to credit them. Again, all of their information will be in the description if you want to check out their games as well. They're all super cool. And with that, I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.